Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Sperging Out Podcast. My name is Mitch Grace, and I'm the author of the book Growing Up with Asperger's, Lessons Learned and Shareable Wisdom on Amazon right now in audiobook, Kindle, and paperback formats. And I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Extraordinaire.
Hello, happy to be here. I'm an in-home therapist for adults and teenagers with autism.
And we are thrilled to have you here, as always. So, a question that gets brought up a lot in schools and PTA meetings and whatnot is, how do we teach our kids to be smart on the internet? This isn't back in the early 2000s where parents get sort of control, where it's like, okay, you're not getting your first cell phone until you're in high school, or I'm not giving you unlimited internet access at all. Now, if you have a smartphone, which is the go-to phone these days, if you have a smartphone, you have internet access, more likely unlimited internet access. And which means your kid can peruse everything. They could find stuff that, you're, as a parent, depending on how protective you want to be, they absolutely should not be seen. So and this could be especially bad for autistic kids when their imaginations just run wild.
Yeah, well, also because I have clients who had issues with being scammed online because that lack of social understanding makes it harder to tell when something is a scam, especially through texts. Because text messages are already kind of stilted and awkward compared to real life conversation. Mm-hmm. And then if you're someone who doesn't pick up on social cues well or isn't very socialized, those texts can be even more manipulative. Yes. Because even the really weird bot texts might not come across as bot text to someone with autism.
Exactly. So this episode is going to be for the parents and for the youngins, but essentially just online safety. You can consider this episode a public service announcement, if you will.
Digital safety.
Yeah, digital safety. So let's start by platform. Which one do you want to start with first?
Let's start with just a general overview of online websites, because advertising is also another one. A lot of my clients think in a very literal sense.
Yep.
So if an advertisement says this is the best pan you can buy for your money, they will literally believe that. Mm-hmm. Oh, it says this is the best pan ever made, so it must be the best pan ever made. Obviously, that's not true. Every website has these insane, or every marketing advert has these insane absolute statements about this is the sharpest knife on earth. Crazy stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's become more prevalent on social media with TikTok store. I think there's a TikTok store or something like that, where they have these phony advertisements that are just clearly fake and untrue. Mm-hmm. But on the internet as a whole, that is a big difficulty for people with autism, is understanding when something is marketing mumbo jumbo versus real honest specs or facts about whatever you're buying. Mm-hmm. So if you're a parent, the obvious thing is don't let your kid have access to credit card information or anything that allows them to buy stuff online.
Yes.
No buying stuff online. They can ask you, the parent, to buy things for them on Amazon or wherever.
Yes.
But they should not have access to any kind of money when it comes to online spaces.
Yeah, lock that shit up if you have to.
Yeah, because I've had that issue with clients that had access to their father's credit card and would just buy whatever, and dad would get mad. And I'm like, well, why does your kid have access to your credit card? Yeah, it's as simple as taking that away.
Exactly. It's almost become a meme at this point where it's like, oh, my kid spent $1,000 of my credit card on Clash of Clans or something.
Yes.
Or on Candy Crush, or I don't know what the kids play, or
Netflix,
Fortnite.
Amazon Video.
Yeah, Amazon Video, Fortnite. Fortnite's we can dedicate an entire episode to how predatory certain games and their monetization policies have become. But getting back on track.
But yeah, I think that's the main one, is don't allow your kid have access to monetary or financial means online if they're a child and they're not responsible enough.
Exactly.
I know it's easy to put in your credit card information, especially Amazon Video is the one that I actually dealt with personally, where the family has their credit card information input to Amazon Video because it's their account, and it autofills because everyone uses autofill. And then their 14-year-old kid was just buying random Amazon videos, seasons of shows, and then not watching them. He would just buy them. He probably didn't even know what he was doing. He was just messing with the UI. And so I had to explain to the parents, well, you need to remove your credit card information so he can't buy them. And they gave me a bit of pushback, being like, well, then it's inconvenient for us to buy stuff. I'm like, okay, We'll let it be inconvenient. Like, it takes you 1 minute to put in your information. That's better than spending hundreds of dollars on accident.
Yeah, what's more inconvenient, the loss of money or the loss of the 1 minute it takes to put in your information?
Yeah, they were asking me about like parental restrictions and other weird systems. I was like, just take your credit card off the account. It's really that simple.
Yeah, it is. So yes, make sure your financial information isn't on autofill. Make sure your kid can access those things, and just be wary of. Because something I've noticed is that the worst thing I hear is that is like, especially in like the financial influencer space, I'll see ads like, I can make you rich through teaching you how to make sales, or follow my methods to make money in the stock market and whatnot. And if someone hears that, literally think, oh, well, like, this guy can make me rich, when in reality it's like, if your methods work, why the fuck are you selling it?
Yeah, that's always the secret. If someone's telling you they know how to to get rich, they're getting rich off of telling people that they're not rich from their own method. If they were rich from their own method, they wouldn't be making tutorial videos.
Exactly.
It's simple.
Exactly. It's come a long way from those infomercials. It's like, hey, here, buy my investing book. Just pay shipping and handling. And then, oh, hey, it's only some of the method. You have to get part 2, which does include like a $50 surcharge.
Pay for my online video lectures.
Buy my course. That's a big one.
That's a huge scam. There's so many of those.
I will teach you how to be financially independent. And so there's... Oh, and then not only this one infuriates me even more. Our producer just showed us crypto scams, crypto pump and dump scams. Co-host extraordinaire, do you want to kick us off on that? Because if when I start going, I'm not going to stop.
As someone who made a good amount of money during the COVID lockdowns using crypto, it is a scam. All of it. Bitcoin is a scam. I will put that out there. You can make money using these scams, but you should not try. The stock market is real. Crypto is not. Almost all cryptos you see advertised are just, as you said, pump and dumps, where they get social media influencers to get a bunch of children and people who don't know better to buy this crypto, which inflates its value so that they, the influencers, can immediately sell it all and then leave all these children losing money. It is a scam. Crypto has no security backing. It has no safety or regulation. Do not invest in crypto.
And
don't let your kid invest in crypto.
Yes, and then something I've always disliked about cryptocurrencies is that in the stock market you can short a stock, which essentially means, hey, I'm betting that this stock is going to go down in price. Like, for whatever reason, like you think they're going to have a bad fiscal quarter and their earnings are coming up, or for whatever reason, you can't short crypto, and I've always disliked that.
Yes.
Because with stocks, although I think the obvious reason why you can't short crypto is that like everybody would do it with these, influencer-backed cryptos.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, this is a pump and dump. I'm gonna short the hell out of this.
The moment Elon Musk says like buy Dogecoin, I'd be shorting it.
Because that's gonna crash.
Yeah. Because he's gonna sell it all. That's what they always do.
Oh, exactly. There's this. Allegedly he sold a whole bunch of Dogecoin before he went on Saturday Night Live that one time and said Dogecoin.
Yeah.
And then during the episode, the price cratered. I wonder why.
He sold it literally right before he went, like when the episode went live, and you're like, oh yeah, that's a pump and dump. That is a scam.
It is it's my financial market manipulations, but it's crypto and it's unregulated.
And I think we could extend past crypto. Any financial guru, even stock market stuff. It's like
100%.
if your kid is a kid, they have no reason to even look into this stuff or have any opinion on this stuff.
Yeah.
Not to be rude, but like it's not their life. You're the adult. You're the financial person. You handle your financials. Your child has no say in it.
Yes, don't if your kid comes up to you and says, "Hey, I want to buy $100 worth of GameStop stock." You need to have a sit down chat with them. Be like, "Okay, look, so you are 15 years old. You don't have the money to afford, $100 worth of GameStop stock. So no, I'm not gonna be doing that."
Yeah, like explain to them how the stock market works and why crypto is a scam and things like that. Like educate your child, of course.
Yes.
But do not educate them by showing them, by actually spending real life money, because that's just, you're essentially banking on them not getting gambler addiction.
Yeah, gambling addiction.
Yeah, you're essentially banking on them not getting that dopamine rush when things actually do go up, which everyone gets. Everyone knows how that feels.
Oh yeah. 100%.
And children are even more susceptible to it. That's why video games and stuff and mobile games have microtransactions and little scammy loot boxes to make your child a gambling addict.
Exactly. It's horrible. And then,
which I think is a good transition to talking about those topics of video games.
Because
Because you don't want to limit your kid. You don't want to tell your kid they're not allowed to play video games or mobile games. But at the same time, you really do need to educate them and make sure they understand that, like, microtransactions, loot boxes, V-Bucks, all of that is a emotional manipulation.
100%.
It is manipulating your brain in a way that will absolutely make you crave wasting your money on junk.
Exactly. Or
And
cosmetics.
It's technically legal, even though it shouldn't be.
Yeah, seriously.
It is the same thing as a casino tricking people and spending their pension.
Yes, on their penny slot machines.
Yes, it's exactly that, but for video games and children who definitely don't know any better.
Okay, so, all right, since we've opened those floodgates, buckle the fuck up, because I have opinions.
I think we both do.
So, I love sports simulation games. I think the gameplay itself is fun, and the fact that there are so many scenarios you can play based on your sport of choice is fun. What I don't like is that how these games are riddled with microtransactions that, okay, so this is such a scummy thing that sports games have started doing. They will so a lot of times you'll get to create your own player, and you get to write out your player story throughout the league, and it's like this is their journey to winning a championship and winning the MVP award and blah 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 blah. And so they will lock so many cosmetic options like different outfits, different hairstyles, and whatnot behind a paywall. And not only that, like oftentimes you won't be able to purchase the cosmetics directly. You'll have to buy like a loot box that for a chance at that cosmetic. And the thing is like, you know, when your player is interacting with all these other players, you feel like, well, it preys on people's need to stand out, need to be cool, and your individuality is like, yeah, you want to be like everyone else, don't you? Don't you want to have this slick hairstyle or this skateboard you can ride around?
You don't want to use the boring default character, do you?
Yeah, and so it preys, and I want to use that word specifically, it preys on that. It is predatory. And so, if I was a parent, I would say, okay, no, I'm not buying you those games. I do not care how good they are. I don't care how much you love the sport. I'm not buying you those games. I would just not buy them any games that has any sort of monetization, microtransactions in them. I would go that far.
I mean, I don't disagree, but I feel like that's a difficult stance to take given how many games. Like Fortnite is the best example. Fortnite is a fantastic game. It's really fun. Children like it for a good reason. It is riddled with microtransactions.
Isn't the game also free?
The game is also free.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it's predatory when it comes to microtransactions. I don't like them, but it's not actively trying to trick you into buying them. It just has a storefront where you buy things.
I disagree because when you're playing the battle royale, you're the default character, and then you get shot by Goku or by Rick and Morty. Like, well, I want to play as Rick. I want to play as Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
I want to play as Goku. Like, and there's that storefront right there where you can
buy that character skin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
but I wouldn't say that you should not allow your kid to play the game. I think you just need to make it extremely clear that they're not. Again, don't give them any financial control. They obviously should not be allowed to open the store and buy stuff. And tell them that they just aren't allowed to get any of those microtransactions. Even if you have an extra $5 and you don't care and they want the skin really bad, don't buy it for them. Because then you're incentivizing that kind of dopamine hit gambling addiction of buying these things, and you're normalizing it. And as they get older and more financial independence, you don't want them to think it's normal to buy this stuff.
Exactly.
Because it isn't. It is a waste of money.
Exactly. And then what's even worse is this is what drives me up a wall. It's that a lot of these games with these predatory loot box scenarios, influencers will have those gambling mechanics skewed in their favor because they're influencers and
they will actively try to make it seem like you can make money by buying loot boxes in Counter-Strike Go or something silly. And it's always a scam. It is not real. You will not make money by buying microtransactions. And you will not make money playing video games. That is just 1 in a million. That is not going to happen.
Exactly. And then they cheat on their wives, and it's horrible. Yes, I'm calling you out, Dr. Disrespect.
Oh man, got him. Speaking of which, have you heard about the Activision situation with the newest Call of Duty?
Which one?
So,
Which Activision situation?
developer came out. They have a copyright on AI influenced matchmaking, which initially people thought, okay, so they have an AI or machine learning system that matches you with people on your same skill level.
Okay.
Turns out, no, it's more in depth than that. It affects how much damage your guns do. If you start doing too well, it makes your guns do less damage.
What?
It actively pairs you up with people who have paid cosmetic skins.
Oh.
And so when you get killed by them, you will see their paid cosmetic weapons and skins. And it hasn't been proven yet, but people theorize that those players who pay a lot of money for these skins also get buffs from the AI damage system.
Oh my god.
To make it so they're getting more kills and making it seem like, oh, if you buy this skin, you'll be better at the game. And so people are extremely angry because that's insidious.
Yes.
And it will absolutely work on children to make them think, oh, if I buy the Nicki Minaj skin, I can be better at the video game.
Yeah, hey, remember when Call of Duty was a serious war franchise?
Yeah, but that's the most insidious one I've heard so far, where they're using machine learning to actively manipulate people into spending more money on a game that you have to pay for in the first place. The game isn't even free.
Yeah, the game is $60. Why am I paying more for cosmetics? Just make me unlock them through playing the game.
Nah, yeah, that's the grossest one. But that is a perfect example of like how insidious these manipulations go and these marketing schemes to try to sell fake things, digital objects that have no real value to children.
Yes, and then I want to circle back to the influencer thing because there's these. So with these yearly sports releases, there are Twitch streamers and influencers that will like watch, that will play these, that will have early access to the game because they're in bed with the developers.
Yeah, they're influencers, they're advertisers.
Exactly, and they'll be, and I've seen it to where this one, like the titles, like the logo of the publisher will be EA, for example, they do the Madden series, and so, which is football, American football, not the FIFA series, which is soccer, or football, whatever. But there's these, but like the fucking EA Sports logo will come up, and the influencers are like, "Oh my god, that's so sick, dude!" And I'm just like, "Dude,
it's just
fuck off, no!" And these people are on Twitch, and they have fucking, and like their main audience is children. Because, like, no sane adult with a functioning brain is going to look at that and go, yeah, that person's being genuine.
Yeah, that's another noticeable trend is influencers where they'll talk in this sing-song, yelling attitude with this fake excitement about everything. And it's like, these are clearly geared towards children. Yeah. This is how a children thinks of things. This is not how an adult would.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is such a sick startup menu. I'm like, fuck you.
It makes my skin crawl.
Yes.
When it's like, there's a corporate boardroom that's actively creating commercials for children to get them into gambling.
Yes.
to scam them.
Yes, and then there's also, and since we're on the subject of Twitch streamers, there's the other side of that coin, which is even more insidious. Well, not that it's from a corporate level, but there are these, simps. There's no other way I can broach. I can't think of a smarter way to broach that subject, but the fact that
oh yeah, I guess that is something we need to talk about too.
These Twitch streamers, these women will dress very provocatively. They'll do provocative acts, and they're on Twitch, which has a younger demographic.
Twitch advertises itself as a family-friendly, like gaming-oriented platform.
Yeah, bullshit, by the way. That's a fucking lie.
But there are plenty of streams of people in scantily clad clothing that are very sexualized.
Yes.
And they ask for donations.
Yes. And then,
which, again, is a racket in itself.
Yes.
But as a parent, you should definitely be aware of what websites your child is using, especially anything that has video.
Yes.
To make sure they're actually safe. Because Twitch, again, it definitely looks like a normal gaming website from the front. But if your kid starts watching those videos, they're going to see that stuff. And it's if as a parent, you probably don't want your kid watching softcore pornography on Twitch, to put it nicely.
I don't care if this video. Well, I mean, we're not monetized anyways. But if this video gets demonetized, I don't give a flying fuck, because this is advice parents need to know. Okay, a general tip I want to tell all parents right the fuck now: familiarize yourself with the user interface of whatever platform your kid is using. YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook. X, Twitter. I'm not calling it X. Snapchat.
If you see your kid using a website, open the website in your own time and just give it a look through and just make sure it's safe. Make sure there's nothing creepy.
Yes.
And there's nothing, nothing that you don't want your kid interacting with or seeing, and no kind of scams or anything like that.
Because here's the thing, because I want to hone in on Twitch for a second, because Twitch has different categories. They have video games. They have video game streams. They have video games with no commentary streams, where it's just someone who you don't see the face, and they have VTubers. But then they have this category called just chatting, which might as well be the titty streaming category, because it's just granted, I'm sure there are people in there that are not dressed provocatively, like, hey guys, I just got off of work, so here's what happened today, and what do y'all think about that?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of just talking streams where like it's in between games where they're just chatting with chat.
But the Twitch streamers have monetized parasocial relationships, and it's sickening.
It's unhealthy. Yes, that's another one, especially if your child is on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
That you do not want them creating social standards or learning their social cues. I think we've talked about this before with social media.
Yeah.
You do not want your kid learning social cues and social norms from YouTube or Twitch.
Yes.
It is fake. It is parasocial.
Yes.
Twitch streamers are not, they're entertainers.
They are not your friends.
YouTubers are liars. They are also entertainers. They are not real.
They are putting up a front.
They are playing a character.
Yes.
And it's like going to a comedian to learn all your social cues. You do not want to talk like a stand-up comedian. No. You want to talk like a normal person.
Exactly.
So if your child is on the spectrum or is still learning those social cues for whatever reason, you definitely need to control that kind of engagement.
Exactly.
Like they can watch YouTube, they can watch Twitch, but make sure they're not picking up their social like learning from them. Make sure they're interacting with people in the real world and learning that like the difference between what is online and what is real life. Exactly. Big separation. You do not want your kid thinking that every YouTube video they watched is real.
Yes.
Because they're not. They're mostly fake.
No, I mean there are genuinely a lot of things you can learn on YouTube. There are science videos. There are math videos.
Cooking.
Cooking, for example. Like there's this, there's this guy who takes I am blanking on the channel name, but he takes food from video games. He says, "Let me try it. Let me try to make this in real life." Yeah. And it's interesting. There's genuinely engaging content on there, but with Twitch, I hate because like the just chatting streams, even if it's not provocative, it's completely family friendly. It encourages engagement, which encourages parasocial relationships. They want you to think that they are your friends. They are not. They care about your wallet.
They're there to make money.
Exactly. They have something I would look for if your kid just says, "Oh, I want to watch this because I want to watch this one influencer play a video game." Look how I would watch that stream. Maybe not the exact one your kids are watching, but I would watch a stream that guy or gal does and says, "Okay, how do they do this? Do they encourage and do they just kind of let the chat be the chat and they just play the game, and occasionally do they interact with it? Yeah. Are they ones that are getting donations constantly, like, oh, thank you such and such for donating?"
Yeah, are they incentivizing donations? Are they trying to sell the game they're playing?
Yes.
Or are they just being relaxed and normal?
Yes, I would look at the screen that they are using. Like, where is the donation? Do they have a sub goal? Do they have a donation goal? Do they have the highest donation in the last month? Because there are ways you can do that with it while still being somewhat ethical about it.
Of course.
Because from the influencer's perspective, you want to encourage engagement because A, it grows your audience and also grows your piggy bank. But there are ways you can go about doing it without being shitty about it.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember these people are called influencers because they influence their audience.
Exactly.
And that doesn't make them evil, but to remember that is their job, is to influence people. They are, I guess, I wouldn't say manipulative, that seems strong, but their job is to essentially manipulate people.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure that like what your kid is engaging with is not teaching them anything negative. That's really it. That's kind of the main callback to all of this, is like you have to check what your kid is looking at online or what games your kid is playing and make sure that it is not affecting them negatively or teaching them things or scamming them in any way.
Exactly. So,
which is difficult in this day and age when everyone has a smartphone.
And then you briefly mentioned parental controls. I do think that's a good idea because like Nintendo, for example, they have parental controls on their Switch, and most consoles have parental controls where it's like, hey, yeah, you can play the campaign for Call of Duty, but you can't play online.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, or you can't,
I
or
agree, but caveat: those parental controls are often not enough.
yeah,
So, a big one, Disney. I had a client. They can't watch violent horror, violent stuff. They had a Disney account with parental controls on. Disney does not do a good job with its parental controls. Disney has all the Saw movies on there. Disney Plus, I mean.
whoa, what?
Oh, it's wild. Open up Disney Plus next time you get a chance. They have a bunch of horror movies on there now, non-Disney stuff, and the parental controls don't block them. Amazon's another one. Amazon Video uses some weird AI algorithm to decide whether things should be blocked.
Oh, God.
So if you open up Game of Thrones, 4 of like the 20 episodes of the first season or whatever are blocked on parental controls, but the other ones aren't, and you're like, no, every episode should be blocked on Game of Thrones.
Like no one didn't like if
It's-
you're under the age of 18, you should not be watching Game of Thrones.
Yes, so parental controls are good, and you should use them, but do not expect them to do all the work because they are not perfect.
Yeah, don't lean
And
on them.
Kids are real smart
Yep.
and will find ways to circumvent things.
They-
I've had clients install and use VPNs.
Oh yeah, VPNs.
Yeah.
VPNs.
And their parents have no idea what a VPN is, and I had to explain it to them, and it was a whole ordeal. But,
Learn
like,
what a VPN is and
kids
how,
are smart.
Yep. The kids will find strict parents create sneaky kids. Essentially.
Yeah. So the important thing is just to make sure to engage with whatever content your kid is looking at to check and make sure it's safe,
Exactly.
even with parental controls.
Yes. So what are we missing here?
Social media is another one. That's a big
Oh
one.
yes. Social
So
media.
when it comes to social media, all the stuff we previously talked about is still true.
Yes.
There's still scams in social media. Social
Exactly.
media, unfortunately, these days tries to sell you products.
Yeah.
Again, you need to make sure what your kid is doing on social media is safe. Make sure they're not posting personal information. That's a big one.
Yes.
People with autism might not realize that posting their home address or too personal information on Twitter or Facebook is unsafe. So that is a very important one to either keep track of, or I would argue, just don't let them use social media. Mm-hmm. You don't need social media as a kid. You're
You
a
don't.
child. Like, you can communicate with your friends using your phone without using Facebook or Twitter or any social media outlet.
Yeah, like you can text them. There are non-social media related group chat apps you can get, like GroupMe and whatnot.
Yeah, and I've heard this before from parents that, like, my kid doesn't have real life friends. He does not socialize with people in real life, but he does talk to people on Discord. He's got friends in other countries on Discord, so I let him use Discord to do that. And while I understand where you're coming from, your heart is in the right place. Like, some socializing through Discord is better than none. However, it is not a good solution. You should still limit Discord or ban it completely and pressure your kid to make friends in real life. Teach them how to make friends in real life. Because again, online social interactions are not the same as real life social interactions, no matter how normal they are. Even the most normal Discord conversation with my friends, who I've known in real life for years,
Yes.
is not the same as me being in the same room with them. And you really want your kid to learn those social skills through experience and knowledge in the real world.
Exactly. And then on top of that, a lot of influencers will have Discord servers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then it's like, oh, hey, join the Discord. Don't you want to be a bunch of other fans of influencer X? And then, again, it's manipulating kids. So, and then with if you let your kids use Discord, first off, make sure they do not have access to the camera, and you make sure that shit is blocked.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And then, absolutely don't let them turn on the camera. And if you are letting them use voice chats, make sure you know every single person who's in that Discord server.
Yeah, that's the thing. You make sure they're only in Discord servers with people they know. Like,
Yeah.
actual real life people they know, not random people on the internet.
Because because I think it's
Again, it's really easy to accidentally post personal information.
exactly.
And if you post personal information, you want it to be with your friends, not on a Discord with hundreds of random strangers.
Yeah, there are Discord servers. I wouldn't be surprised if in high school right now there are Discord servers that are Miss Hall's biology class and whatnot,
Yeah.
and where they go over homework, share answers, probably test
Yes.
answers, pretty much, yeah. And they talk about oh man, this person was so mean or whatever, and group chats for classes exist. They existed when I was in college. I'm pretty sure they existed when you were in college.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
so-
Yeah, we used WhatsApp in college to have group chats about our classes.
Really, I used GroupMe.
Oh, yeah, we used GroupMe as well. We used a bunch.
I didn't use WhatsApp. I think I didn't use WhatsApp, but my point being is that it's not going to be uncommon. Like, for example, in high school, if I was in high school right now, I guarantee you the friends I'd be having would be like, "Hey, Mitch, you'll hop on Discord tonight. We're going to play this game."
Yeah.
And then if I was a parent, I would want to know, okay, I want you to name me every single person that's in this group chat. That way I can call their parents if they suspect something's wrong.
And don't be afraid of being overbearing and weird. That's your job, is to be overbearing and overprotective.
I mean, you have to give your kids some freedom in the sense that it's like, okay, you have in a controlled environment. Yeah, you shouldn't. Once you can confirm the environment's controlled and that, okay, nothing bad is going to happen. It's just teenagers being teenagers.
Yeah.
Then that's fine. Then you need to ease off. But the first part of it, you need to establish the trust. Like, okay, I know who's in it. I know who could be in this. I know what they discuss. And then if something goes wrong, I can call the other people in this Discord server's parents. It's fine.
Yeah, and I think it's important to talk about like late high school and college.
Yeah.
You obviously can't control for everything your child is going to be doing if they go to college. They're going to be independent.
Yes.
So it's important that earlier in life, when they're in middle school or early high school, you are teaching them how to be safe online and why you're making these rules. It's another thing. If you're restricting parental access or restricting social media, restricting all sorts of other things, you need to explain to your kid why you're doing this and why it's for their benefit, and just make sure they understand why they need to be safe and how these scams work, so that when they're an adult or a teenager in college and they're independent, they won't fall for them now that you're no longer there to, control everything.
Exactly. And then if you're on Discord and you get a random invite from someone and it says hi, then there's an X at the end of it, probably a bot.
Yeah, bots are very common. And people, I think I mentioned earlier, people with autism have a harder time telling what's a bot and what's a real person.
Yeah.
This comes up a lot in dating apps. Dating apps are filled with bots who are like, buy my premium Snapchat or send me $10 just because. If someone you've never met in real life is asking you for money online, even people you've met in real life, if they're asking you for money online, don't trust it.
Yeah, there's a disgusting trend I'm seeing recently where it's like, where people I know I've met in real life a number of times, it'll be their birthday. They're like, hey, it's my birthday. Here's my Cash App. Send me $10 or whatever. The fucking people, and some people do it.
I've never had any of my friends.
Like
that would be weird.
Like the fucking gall that these people have, like such a fucking ego. Like it's, but yeah, if someone is asking you for money online, don't do it.
Yeah, or
It's
any
a
credit
scam.
card information or any personal information.
What's your mother's maiden name?
Yeah, anything
What's the name
like
of
that.
your first pet?
What's your social security number? It's like things that they have no need to know. Don't tell them. They don't need to know.
Like if they want to ask you, oh, hey, what games do you play? That's fine. Hey, did you just watch the game last night? That's fine. That's how a normal person talks. Hey, what's the answer to this one question and this one worksheet we have? It's really hard. That's a normal question. But if people may start out talking like that just to get to, hey, what's your mother's maiden name? Hey, where do you live?
What's your address?
Yeah, what kind of car does your dad drive? Or does your mom drive? Or hey, what time are you not going to be in your house? What time do your parents leave the house often? That's when it gets bad. And you need to be like, I'm going to stop talking to you right now.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's important, is just making sure that while you're setting all these parental restrictions that we're advising, you also make sure the child is being explained why they are being put in place.
Exactly.
And don't expect them to implicitly learn through mild explanations. You need to be explicit. Explain every detail that we're explaining and exactly why you're doing it.
Yes.
So they fully understand.
Yes, because the worst thing you could say as a parent is because I said so.
Oh, yes.
Kids, that's a bullshit excuse anyways. It communicates to the child, I don't have a genuine reason for doing it. I'm just doing it and you have to put up with it.
Yes. And especially if you want your kid to learn why you're doing it, you have to explain to them why.
Yeah, and then if you say, I'm like, why are you doing this? And you say, because of reasons X, Y, Z, they could be like, okay. They may still be upset.
And they might disagree and may argue with you, but at least that seed has been planted. Well, they will eventually, when they're older and more mature, will understand why you did it.
Exactly.
They will learn themselves.
Yes, they will. They will know better, essentially.
I'm trying to think if there's any more online spaces that really have any specifics. I mean, social media and dating, mostly.
We've already gone over dating. We did an entire episode about that.
Yeah. I think we've covered most of the things. It's mostly, as a parent, it's difficult to know where the line is.
Yeah.
Maturity level. And I think it's better to be a little more conservative.
Yeah.
So you know, if you really want to like ban all social media until they're like in college, go for it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
That's another one. Addiction. That's one we definitely need to talk about when it
Okay,
comes to social media or entertainment addiction.
Yeah.
So a lot of my clients have autism. Comorbidity is ADHD.
Yep.
And ADHD people, or at least with my clients, my population, tend to watch YouTube videos all day for like 50 hours. You know, like
Wow.
24 hours. But that needs to be restricted. You cannot let your kid just sit and watch YouTube all day, every day. They will definitely learn their mannerisms and social cues from YouTube and act different than everyone else. And there are apps specifically for this. The two that I recommend are Halo, which is a Wi-Fi device that essentially allows you to disconnect the internet from any specific device in your house. So if they have an Xbox or some kind of console or their own computer, you can disconnect internet connection. So then if they're using the computer, they're doing something locally, they're not online, they're not watching YouTube. Mm-hmm. And then the other one is Bark. Bark is an app that connects to every device in the house. It is a fantastic app. It lets you, on your phone, watch whatever is happening on the computer in the living room, or on the TV in the living room, or on another phone in the house. You just have to install the app on everything. And it's not free, but it's worth every penny.
How much does it cost?
I can't recall. I think it was $50.
50?
Yeah, which is a one-time fee.
That's a one-time fee. All right. Damn, that's steep, though, for an app.
I mean, it's an app that lets you control every device in your house. And it, like, the client's parent is able to, like, if the client is on their phone watching YouTube, the parent is able to open the app and see exactly what video they're watching on YouTube at the exact given moment, which is great because this client gets breaks where they're allowed to watch YouTube in between their lectures. But they also do their homework on their computer, the same computer they watch YouTube, and they're in a separate room. So mom can open up the app and see if they're doing their homework or watching YouTube in that exact moment.
Let me ask.
And they allow to set timers and restrict specific applications and websites all through the app, all unified, which is extremely useful.
Very. If a what if the person's computer has multiple monitors? Can Bark show both monitors? Okay, good.
So the app just runs in the background and it just shows everything on the computer. So like you can open your phone and see every app, every tab, every individual thing. Whereas most of the other apps I've used, they let you see what website they're using. You can see exactly what they're looking at, which is extremely useful. So they can't just have a tab of YouTube open and a tab of their homework open. And then it looks like they're doing their homework with YouTube in the background. When in reality, they're just watching YouTube with their homework in the background.
Yeah. Because
it's good because then you can, in the exact moment, you can just cut them off. You can close the tab on your phone and lock out the app.
Exactly.
Right then and there.
And on top of that, some kids like to listen to podcasts while they do their homework.
Yeah,
especially young kids. Well, high schoolers, I mean.
Yeah.
Like high schoolers, they're probably going to watch a lot of Joe Rogan and his his gaggle of comedians. And so if it's just that, then I don't think. But as long as they're doing their homework and the podcast is in the background, like you said, there's a difference. As long as that's fine, then.
Yeah.
Well, as long as that's happening, that should be fine.
But that's a really important one. Like as I was saying earlier, with just all of the social issues of watching too much YouTube, is that like addiction to screen time is bad for your health. Yeah. No matter what you're really using it for, it's just not good for you. So there are apps, there are tools. You don't have to use the ones I recommended, but there are plenty of ways for you to control that as a parent that don't make it impossible for you to use it. So like, obviously you can turn off the internet for the whole house, but then obviously you need internet to your job or to use your phone. So there are ways to control it just for your child to make sure they are not addicted to YouTube or overdoing it in any way.
Yes.
But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there because I think that's a really important one.
Very, yes. And addiction is possible in this day and age, and the fact that these companies and influencers are targeting children is just absolutely horrifying.
It's all designed to give you that quick, short dopamine hit,
and for them to profit off of it.
There's a reason that TikTok and YouTube Shorts and these like 10-second videos have gotten more popular. It's because you get that instant, immediate dopamine hit in the next thing, which with someone with ADHD is perfect, but it is not healthy.
Nope, not at all. Well, I think we've covered everything we want to talk about regarding online safety for parents to use and for their kids.
Yeah, I think the only last thing I'd say is just to reiterate, like, the main thing is just to be involved in your kid's life and make sure you know what they're looking at and what they're doing online in the digital space.
Exactly. And then explain why you're doing the things you're doing.
Yeah.
Your kid will appreciate that, even if it's not at that moment.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. Well, This has been another episode of the Sperging Out Podcast. My name is Mitch Grace. I am author of the book Growing Up with Asperger's, Lessons Learned and Shareable Wisdom, available on Amazon right now in audiobook, Kindle, and paperback formats. And I'm joined, as always, by my co-host extraordinaire.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
And thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.